so I hollered again, and my stepfather heard me. He swung down, and so then he told me everybody was off the house, that I had thought I was the only one. So we sat down on the top of the door until way after daylight the next morning. He had said if we got in the water and got into the canal, we'd drown because we'd been in the water too long. So after a long time, he could see a tractor, and he said, if that's my tractor, Helen, I know what direction I parked it in. So we waited until the water had went down to where he could see it was his tractor. Now we're looking down on top of the tractor. That's how high we was. And she said, now we'll go straight east here till we hit the railroad track. And the railroad used to cross it up Pokey Road. We'll walk to the road back into Belglade. As we got back even with our house, we saw some black men with little white babies, and they stopped for us to see if they were ours, but they wasn't. So we came on in. He left me at the hotel, and he went to look for the family. The next morning, they put all the women, well, we had to walk to the experiment station, and they put all the women on a truck and sent them out of here. Is that all you want?
Absolutely. It's beautifully done. It's wonderful. You did a wonderful job. Is there anything that...
I remember...
Janice is crying.
I tried to stay over there so I wouldn't be too emotional. I remember you talking about going to school in a tub and the boys pulling you in the tub. But that was just during, because the water was flooding.
Yeah, that was just during the rainy season. You want that too?
I don't think so, because it's just basically, we've got that on the other
Yeah, you got it on the other tape. You said something about where the chosen school was, but it was down, 715 runs through here somewhere a mile from here. And it's down 715 on the west side of the road. But I never asked my stepfather exactly where it was. And you know, with all the houses built up, you're not real sure.
Somebody told us like it was about where MacArthur Dairy.
That's what I thought it was, but you know, I thought, well, I should ask him because they built his house and all of those Fritz Steins, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's what somebody told us. It's kind of around where MacArthur Dairy was. I can't think of anything else. I think you covered it all just beautifully.
Okay.
I think the time is wonderful.
The black men that you encountered, were the little ones that they had alive?
No, they were dead.
They were dead.
And my stepfather, he couldn't look at them, and he asked me if it was any of his or ours. See, we had, my two brothers and sister was drowned. My mother, my aunt, her sister, and her husband. Pat's sister and his, her husband and children, and his brother and his wife and 2 children. So they was 19 in all, 17 drowned. I guess we lost the most in any one family in Belgrade, or in we considered ourselves in Chosen. That's where we came. Yeah. And our house was built on built up high enough you could run a Model T under it here on the canal. And then he bought this land across the canal down here off of 441, and they cut it off of the stilts and moved it out there and put it on mud sills. It wasn't down the rock. Before the water started coming up, you saw it slipped off of the mud sills because you felt it settle down. And that's the reason the water come in so quick, because it was sitting on the ground. But that's what saved it, and also it was big boards. It was straight up and down. Both of the uncles that lived within sight of us, their house was new, and you couldn't find a splinter of them. And there was enough material that my stepfather built a house out in these quarters with what was left of the house.
Tell us the story about your friend. You said, didn't you have a friend that stayed the night in
Dragline difference?
Yeah.
The Holloways, they lived on Hillsboro, and they had a 2-story house, and I was thinking when I looked at this one, maybe it was it, but I guess it wasn't. It didn't have shutters. It did have a little room off to the side, but it didn't have shutters. He had a drag line. He was, yes, Holloway was Hamp Holloway and had all the dredges and drag lines out here. And when the storm got bad, they went out and pulled the dipper up to the top, and they climbed up into the dipper. Now, the book states that they sat on top of the roof, but they didn't. They was in the dipper, because I went out of here with them. And they stayed in the dipper until the wind was gone. And their house was left except for the shed room that Mrs. Holloway slept in, and the porch, back porch. It was a two-story back porch, and they had 2 big water tanks in that back porch upstairs. And I think it was torn off. It's off now anyway. And their stairway was washed out of the inside of the house. The water had went through it with that force. We pulled the dining room table up under the stairwell and climbed through to get Thelma's clothes, because all I had was what I was standing in. All she had was what she was standing in, except her clothes was saved upstairs. Mrs. Holloway was all washed away.
Did you have any experiences with Dr. Buck?
Oh, yes. Not before the 28 hurricane, although he was here, but after I came back in 35, he was delivered my daughter, and he was our family doctor. And my stepfather, he bossed him around.
He must have been a strong man then.
Pat bossed everybody around.
I heard Dr. Buck was something after the storm.
Oh, he was an Army doctor. He was rough, but, you know, he had a lot to take care of, and if he hadn't have been that fast, he couldn't have took care of all of it. And then I worked in the drugstore beside his office and was working there when he died. He was a really, well, I don't know what we did without him, really.
Yeah, that's what everybody said, that he was just wonderful.
Yeah, he's one in a million.
Anything else that we've heard that he... His word, for some reason, I thought that was the hallway, when you were talking about it being the hallway.
Yeah, it looked something like it, you know, but I didn't have any shutters on it that I remember. I don't remember any stove stack like that either.
Well, I can't find my narrative, so...
But theirs would have been on Hillsborough, and this isn't on Hillsborough.
Well, this is 1915, 1916.
Well, that's before my
That's too
time.
soon? Yeah, that's too early for you.
Yeah, I was born in 1950.
Okay. Was their house there then, though? Or was their house still
I
there?
can't remember this house. There was a house on the other side that was Dr. Leatherman's brother's house, but I don't remember.